So one thing I get asked a lot since I started on this journey of self-discovery and spirituality is book recommendations. And to be really honest, I've read an awful lot of books. Like when I started this journey, had an insatiable appetite to read as many spiritual books as I could. I think I read a majority of the books in the spirituality section in the bookshops. And back then I would have, had a big long list of recommendations. That's before my intuition got louder and my discernment came more online. And I realised a lot of these books that I was reading in the early days were, had a lot of, there were a lot of false teachings, very distorted, giving you like some truths, but not giving you the whole picture, or leaving out all the kind of dark side, and just like, unfortunately, a lot of mainstream spiritual books are they're sort of very new agey and like full of these sort of false teachings. So if a spiritual teacher or a spiritual author is not showing you the darkness and the light along with the light, I would use massive amount of discernment with this sort of content, and try to seek out, spiritual teachers that are showing both the dark and the light, and how to help you overcome the dark, or look at your own darkness or shadow within, and the shadow outside as well. So yeah, there's not many books these days. At this stage, there's not many books, especially from mainstream, that I would recommend in terms of spirituality and self-discovery. However, and I would say very much be very discerning with channels, and be very careful with the channeled material or channelers. There's a lot of, unfortunately, there's a lot of channelers that have gotten hijacked, or they're, just they are not, they're basically channeling negative or false information, basically, and trying to lead people away from the actual proper spiritual development path. So it's a jungle out there in those spiritual community. And yeah, so but it's all about us learning to discern more, and that's really our lesson in that, and that's a good thing. But yeah, however, having said that about channeled material, that's actually one of the books I would recommend that is channeled material is The Law of One. That's probably the only book I would recommend in terms of sort of that channeled spiritual content. And I would highly recommend Rudolf Steiner's books. That is where you're going to go really deep into spirituality as a science, okay? And he has named his teachings, or the spiritual science, anthroposophy. So I will put a little book recommendations to start off with here. Knowledge of the higher world and its attainment. So yeah, I would start with that. There's many books there, but I would start with that. And then you can't, for the journey of self-discovery, it's not just about spirituality. You have to learn your own human psychology, and like really mixing spirituality with psychology is, that's the magic formula. So in terms of psychology, I would I highly recommend Carl Jung. So yeah, Carl Jung and his work on the collective unconscious and the archetypes. Okay, so actually, the major arcana cards in the tarot deck, he was inspired. Carl Jung wasn't just a psychologist, he was also a secret mystic. He was very much into astrology and tarot, and his work on archetypes very much ties into the major arcana cards in tarot. So yeah, I'll put the book as well here that I recommend from him, which is the collective unconscious and the archetypes. And then, on your going into the inner healing journey, which is also going to be a mixture of the psychology and spirituality, my recommendations are John Bradshaw's work on the inner child. I mean, it was John Bradshaw that brought the inner child's concept to the mainstream. So I would absolutely I'm a massive fan of John Bradshaw. It was actually John Bradshaw's work where I started my inner healing journey and working with the inner child. So yeah, highly recommend all his books, but maybe start off with the Healing the Shame That Binds You. Also Alice Miller, she's an amazing psychologist that deals with all healing childhood wounding, because at the end of the day, that's where most of our adult issues stem from, the unresolved trauma and pain that we suppressed in childhood. So yeah, she's another amazing person on this whole with like the inner child healing. And then last but not least, my recommendation for tarot and using tarot as a self-discovery tool would be Tarot for Yourself by Mary K. Greer. That's a really amazing book. It's jam-packed full of, ways in which to use the tarot to get to know yourself on that deeper soul level. And other ways to use the tarot deck just as a way of tuning into yourself more, going on that inner quest, and really cool ideas for meditating with the tarot, and using tarot and astrology together. So totally would, for all of you tarot readers out there, or if you're starting your tarot journey, I had only just begun learning tarot when I actually invested in this book, and I still use it. So yeah, highly recommend that one as well. Anyway guys, I hope that helped, but let me know. So do let me know if you agree with my top 5 books on spirituality, self-discovery and the inner healing journey. I feel like all of those books together really give a good grounding in getting to know oneself and starting the inner healing journey. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, and do let me know any recommendations you have, or of any books that really were life-changing for you and had a profound effect. That would be cool as well. Anyway guys, have a good one, and I'll chat to you soon.